Hi, this is Katie with Crafting with Katie, and today I'm going to show you how to make this fun gatefold card that has a little twist. It has a cute scallop circle that holds the card together. The card base we're using is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and the paper needs to be scored 2 1/8 inches from each edge. To do this on your score pal, you'll need to line your paper up 7/8 inches from the edge and then score it at the 3-inch marks, and that will give you a score mark 2 1/8 inches from the edge. The paper I'm using for this card is Echo Park's Birthday Wishes Girl Collection. It's got some really cute patterns. This paper pack has actually been around for quite a while, but you can still find it some places. So for this, you're going to want to cut your paper at 5 1/4 inches by 1 7/8 inches, and you'll need 2 of these panels for the front part of your card, the part that kind of wraps around. Now I just need to attach these panels to my card base, and I'm using my Scotch ATG for this. So these 2 panels fold over so they're on the front, and that's where you're going to be connecting your little scallops to hold the card together. So for this card, I'm using the latest My Creative Time release, the Scallops Stitch Circles, to make my scallops, and then I'm going to decorate it with these cute little candle dies from the My Creative Time Make-A-Wish collection. So I took one of the circle dies and a scallop die, and I'm going to attach them with some washi tape just to keep them together, because I need to make 2 layers of the scallop, and I need them to be perfectly the same size so that they layer on top of each other. So I'm going to have green for the top layer with the pattern paper. This is from that same Echo Park collection. And then the bottom layer I'll just make out of cardstock. So I'm going to cut this out and just run it through my Vagabond. So I also ran it through with some white cardstock as well, to give it another layer to give it some extra thickness. And that also gave me the white circle for the inside. And now I'm just going to run it through with some pattern paper to adhere on top of the white circle. I also just die cut 3 of these happy words from the My Creative Time Boughs of Holly stamp and die set. And I'm going to adhere all 3 together to give it a lot of dimension, and I'm going to be adhering these on top of the candles on the front of the card, just to give it a little extra something. So I will adhere these together with some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium, because that's a nice strong adhesive. So now it's time to adhere everything together, and I've sped up the video a little bit so that I don't bore you too much. So I adhered my 2 pieces of the circles together to give it a little extra thickness. And then I've got those 3 candles, which are so cute. I used some paper tray cardstock for those. And you can see they come with a separate flame, which is fun, so you can have a separate color for the flame. So I'm using the Ranger Multi-Matte Medium to adhere those to the circle. And then the next part will be that fun happy die, which is really thick since I've got those 3 layers put together. So that one goes on top. Now, when you put together those 2 scalloped parts, the green part with the white underneath, be really careful that you line them up perfectly. They're not perfectly symmetrical. So now we're ready to put everything together. So I'm just lining everything up on the card and making sure everything fits. So the way this works is the scallop circle part is going to get attached to one side of the card, and the circle with the candles is going to get attached to the other part of the card. So you're going to have to try to figure out the middle, where the middle of the card is. So I'm just going to try to mark that with a pencil right now. And then once you have your circle divided, you can go ahead and put your adhesive on half of the circle, the half that you want to be on whichever side of the card you've chosen. So I'm just using that Scotch Quick Dry adhesive again. You can use whichever adhesive you prefer. And you just go ahead and put that on. And then it's kind of a little bit tricky because you just want to be really careful that you're not getting the adhesive onto the other side of the card. So you want to make sure you're very centered. It kind of helps having those panels because you can kind of tell. So I kind of put it on and then I flipped my card over and I could see that there was no adhesive showing through, so that was good. I actually had redone my pencil marks, so I'm just erasing those right now. So, and then just let that dry a little bit. So now it's time to adhere our scallop circle onto our card. So remember, this is going to get attached to the other panel. If we attach it to the same panel as the circle, there's nothing that's going to keep our card shut. So once we have just put I always try out my scallop, putting it on the card just to see how it looks and kind of give me an idea of how far out I can make my adhesive go. Then I take it off and I make a little ring of adhesive just on that one panel, just right around the circle. But I'm just careful not to let it actually touch the circle because we don't want the circle to get stuck to that second panel. And once that's there, I keep my circle there as a guide, and then I put my scallop circle onto that flap. I can just kind of press it down. And then it's a good idea once you get it on there to use something to hold it down, like if you have some kind of heavy weight that can hold it down, that's really helpful until it dries. All right, so I used a paperweight to hold mine down, and as you can see, it is all sticking together great. It works really well, little scallops holding it together. And I'm going to do just one more thing to this card. I want to add a sentiment from the Make a Splash set that says birthday wishes. So I'm going to do that with my Misty. I've now got this card into my Misty with the stamp all ready to go. And sorry about my head there. Just lining everything up, and I'm going to use some paper tray ink, dark chocolate ink, because that's going to match the cardstock that I used for Happy. And I'm going to stamp that down. I don't have this centered very well in my video, do I? But you can see that it didn't stamp very well, so I'm just inking it up a little bit more. That's what I love about my Misty. Whenever I don't stamp well, I can always fix it. And with the second time, it came out great. All right, here is our finished project. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you want to stop by my blog for any more details, it's craftingwithkatie.com.